Hello there and welcome to another BrightFlow Data to Dashboard presentation. My name is Paul Clark, I work at Bright Systems, and here's a quick rundown of what we're going to be covering today. First of all, we're going to be using BrightFlow Ingest to replicate some data from an MS SQL database up into Amazon S3. We're going to partition that data to make it easier and faster to access. We're going to create a Amazon S3 table on top of the S3 data. And then finally, we're going to create a simple dashboard to review the partition data. Okay, let's get started. Okay, so what is BrightFlow Ingest? Well, it's a near real-time mechanism for replicating source data into Amazon S3 or Redshift. We can source from MS SQL, Oracle, SAP, or Salesforce. It's inexpensive, codeless, it has zero impact on source systems as it works off the change logs. The data is untransformed, basically it's a complete replica of source, and it also has point-in-time information which allows you to do point-in-time analytics. Okay, before we commence, let's review what we're actually going to be replicating up to Amazon S3. I'm running a single database SQL Server Express instance, which has two databases inside. So inside this Bright MS SQL database, we have a table called Paul's Music, which is basically my entire music library. So we're going to have a quick scan of the data. Now we can see my music collection, some good, some not so good. We're just going to do a quick look at the row count. See, we've got nearly 19,000 rows, and we're going to be partitioning based on the year of the track. So let's have a look at it broken down that way. And you can see how there's my music spread over by the year. So I've got some very, very old stuff, some data which doesn't fall in, which hasn't been sort of labeled correctly, so it doesn't have the correct year, but a pretty good spread of data. Okay, let's now switch back to BrightFlow Ingest and get cracking. This is the BrightFlow Ingest dashboard front page. It shows the current status of the BrightFlow Ingest software. Right now, there's not really a whole lot going on because we're just doing a demo. If we move into the Connections tab, we can see the SQL Server connection. We can look at the destination file system, which is the S3 folder location of the data. And then we can actually move to the data, and this shows us all of the databases on our current connection. There's the two that I've created, as well as the 4 standard SQL Server ones. So the data we're interested in is Bright MS SQL, DBO, it's Paul's Music. Hit select, primary key with history, and full path. Now I've already set up the partitioning on year, so we'll click on apply, full extract, and then as per instruction we move to schedule, sync new tables, and then we wait for our BrightFlow Ingest to replicate the data up to the partitioned format in S3. The ingest process is now completed and we're now in the S3 browser. So we can have a look at the data by browsing to the music demo folder, to the data folder, database, schema, table name. And you can see Ingest has created an individual folder for every one of the years. And there are 61 of these folders, which matches up with the distinct number of years in the source data. We can navigate through into one of them. And this folder structure gives you the year, month, day, hour, minute, second of the last run, which acted on that partition. And here we can see our data zipped up in BZ2 format. Now we could download that, unzip it and look at it in Notepad, but what we're going to do is we're going to go into Athena and create a table and look at the data that way. We're in the Athena console now, and what we're going to do is we're going to create a table based on the S3 data. That's the path of the data. We've told it it's partitioned by year string, and this is the start and the end time of each row. This is the current flag, and these are all the columns actually contained in the data. So very simple query. Let's just run that. And that's completed. Now what we have to do is we have to load the partition data. So if we just run that now. Should take just over 10 seconds. Okay, that's run. Now we can review our data. And this just gives us a sample of data, so we can see the artist, the album, the track, the title. On the right hand side we can see the start and the end date of the row, which gives us our point in time information, and we can see it's partitioned, it's in the 1972 partition. So now if we do a query of everything from 1984, just a row count, what we see is we've run it in 1 and a bit seconds, we've scanned 1.1 megabytes of data, and we've got a count of 164. And that's because we're querying the entire record set. What we can do now is we can limit our query to the 1984 partition because we understand how the data is formatted and partitioned. And what we can do now is we should be able to get exactly the same answer, but instead of pulling back 1.1 megabytes of data, we should pull back a whole lot less in order to get the same answer. And as you can see, we've pulled back 11.34 kilobytes of information to get exactly the same count. We're now in the Tableau software, and the connection is the Amazon Athena connection. We have pool database, and I've written a custom bit of SQL this time. And it's basically select star from pool music where year, which is the partition piece of information, is greater than or equal to 2015. So that means we'll be hitting 2015, 2016, 2017 and 2018 partitions. I've created a quick chart which shows the year, which shows the artist and the count of tracks for that year, and finally the artist and all of the albums that happened on that year. And I've put them all together in a dashboard with the lovely Brightflow logo, and we can drive this dashboard off the year, so we're hitting the partitions that we're interested in rather than the whole data set. So if we hit 2016, it requeries and pulls up all of the artists and albums from that year, as well as the artist and number of tracks that I have. That concludes today's presentation, so I really appreciate your time and attention. Please don't hesitate to get in touch with us at Bright should you want to know more. Okay, have a really good day and take it easy. Bye-bye.